Here comes the field for tonight's first race as they parade to the post behind Parade Marshal and Outrider Kathy Hawk. Number 1, Laura Roseanne, owned by Tim Williamson, driven by Roy Wilson. 2 is Sarah, owned by Jim Arledge with Bob Harper. 3, Cricket Tradition, owned by Roger and John Romish with Jody Essig. 4, Nuclear Explosion, owned by Alvest Incorporated, Christine Houck and Melby Ober with David Miller aboard. 5 is Dipped in Chocolate, owned by Jerry Hawes, driven by Jim Willems. 6, Diamond Square, owned by Jerry Zozel and Kathleen Ratcliffe, Sandy Beatty. 7 is F8, owned by Barry Conrad and the bike Alan Anderson. 8 is Air Success, owned by George Taylor III with a driver change to Jeff Fout. 9 is Delayed, owned by Ronald Barker with David Myers. 10, Heavens to Hannah, owned by Myron Brown and Dave Brumbaugh. Dave Hawk will be in the sulky. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and pacing. Nuclear Explosion takes the lead. Cricket Tradition's going to leave tonight. And with a rush on the far outside, here comes Air Success to get the top. Late leaver on the far outside. Diamond Square away safely fourth. Laura Roseanne, gap of 2 lengths into Sarah. Midway on the opening turn, Dipped in Chocolate, starting up on the outside, F8 and Delayed. And far back the trailer is Heavens to Hannah as they race by the opening quarter here in a solid 28 3/5. Moving past the stands, Nuclear Explosion gets the lead. Nuclear Explosion on top, Air Success second. Cricket Tradition is into third. Here's Laura Roseanne moving up on the outside steadily from fourth. Diamond Square to this point fifth. Sarah. After that, it's Dipped in Chocolate, F8, ranging up on the outside, Delayed. And Heavens to Hannah is the trailer. They're at the half-mile pole in a good 59. They're out of the turn and down the backstretch. Nuclear Explosion continues to lead the way. Laura Roseanne drives up on the outside second. Air Success to her inside third. Diamond Square live cover. After that, it's Cricket Tradition. She's now under submerging. Sarah can't go on. Dipped in Chocolate's got a lot of work to do. F8, Delayed, and Heavens to Hannah. As they race by 3/4, Nuclear Explosion leads the way in 1:28 3. Moving around the far turn, Nuclear Explosion by a length and a half. Air Success is in the second. Cricket Tradition looks for racing room. She's going to shake loose now as the field straightens away. Nuclear Explosion brings them on home. Cricket Tradition with a rush on the outside. In between horses, Air Success. It's Nuclear Explosion. Cricket Tradition up on the outside. Second, Air Success will finish third. The unofficial winner of tonight's first race, number 4, Nuclear Explosion, a 3-year-old bay filly by Nuclear Siren out of Easter Cross, owned by Alvest Incorporated. Christine Houck and Melby Ober, all of Ohio, trained by Virgil Morgan Jr., driven wire-to-wire by David Miller to establish a lifetime best of 159 2. Number 4, Nuclear Explosion, the unofficial winner. Year-old trotting fillies in the first of 3 divisions. Number 1, PG Margio, owned by George Johnson, driven by Jeff Fout. 2, Fillings Mercy, owned by Marvin Thomas and Dave Oberhaus and Anthony Stites, driven by Jody Essig. 3, Sunrise Katie has been scratched. 4, Camarada a winner, owned by Joe Carano. Jerry Ross Jr. will be aboard. Number 5 is Air to Air, owned by Patricia and Kevin Cross with Donnie McCurgan. 6, Sand Dream, owned by Bill Sanders and Del S. Miller. Number 7, WCS Ms. Ruffles, and with the White Creek Stables, David Myers will be in the sulky. Trotters for the second, scratch the 3, post time in 6 minutes. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and trotting. WCS Ms. Ruffles on the far outside looks for the lead. PG Margio along the rail second. Followed by Fillings Mercy into third. Air to air on the outside. Camarado winner away safely, and so is Sand Dream. They're all on gate as they trot to the quarter-mile pole. WCS Ms. Ruffles on the outside being stung pretty good by PG Margio, but she now gets the lead. The 2 is off stride. The 5 made a break. They're by the opening quarter here in a pretty solid 29 3/5. Trotters come past the stands, and WCS Ms. Ruffles leads away by about 3 lengths, jumping off stride the 1 PG Margio. As they move past the stands to the half-mile pole, here comes Sand Dream in the second. Camarada a winner, a closer third. Back down trotting Air to Air. PG Margio inside the pylons, and Fillings Mercy is up on the outside as they hit the half-mile pole. Minute and 4/5. WCS Ms. Ruffles leads by about 6 lengths. Sand Dream tries to pick up the chase second. Camarada a winner, now closing into third. Big gap now to Air. Along rail, PG Margio driving up on the far outside. Fillings Mercy as they trot to 3/4. WCS Ms. Ruffles continues to lead by about 5.5 lengths. Sand Dream is in the second. Camarada a winner third as they move by 3/4 in 1:32.1. Trotting around the far turn, WCS Ms. Ruffles by about 7. Sand Dream doing her best in second. Camarada a winner, not doing enough in third. Air to Air is up on the outside. Fillings Mercy and PG Margio as the field straightens away. WCS Ms. Ruffles kings to the lead. WCS Ms. Ruffles on top by a good margin. Sand Dream is in the second. Ruffles has Ridges in front. WCS Miss Ruffles, a 2-year-old bay filly by Lucky Elmhurst out of Mistake. Owned in Palm Beach Garden, Florida by Bill White. White Creek Stable, trained by Ron Potter. Well driven tonight by David Myers to take a mile in 2:04.1 and a lifetime best. Number 7, WCS Ms. Ruffles, the unofficial winner. Representing Anheuser-Busch in the winner's circle, one of our proud sponsors here this summer is Mr. Chuck Lott, Regional Sales Representative for Anheuser-Busch. Exact return 114.80. The try 656.40. Anthony's 4-7 daily double $673.60. Third race, number 1 CIKG, is owned by Kathleen Prickett, driven by Jody Essing. 2 Elegant Elgin, owned by driver Ralph Lunsford Jr. and Deborah Cooper. Number 3 is Marcia's Sharp Girl, owned by Leo Banks and Lester Holland, reinsman David Miller. 4 Nuke Skylark, leased by Tommy Smith with Jeff Fout. 5 Kankakee, owned by Roy Sweeney with Michael Hogan in the bike. Number 6 Berkshire Tip, owned by Jeff Stover and Shane Adams. Jeff Stover drives. 7 is Pay Direct, owned by Robert Bryan with Bob Harper. 8 Come On Big Girl, owned by Jerry Summers and Suzanne Norflus, and the driver is Brad Hanners. 9 Mayoka, owned by Bob Griffith with Randy Tharps. 10 Starlight Melody, owned by Chad Folk, and a driver change to Dave Hawk. That is the field for tonight's third race. Here are the changes on the back. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and pacing. Nuke Skylark between horses takes the lead. CIKG is next. Come On Big Girl is up on the far outside. Further out, that's Myoka. They're down the backstretch. Elegant moves in to be fifth, followed by Marcia Sharp Girl on the outside, sixth. Followed by Starlight Melody in seventh. Kankakee. After that, it's Berkshire Tip and Pay Direct as they drive to the quarter-mile pole. Out on top, it's Come On Big Girl in a quick 27 4/5. Racing past the stands to the half-mile pole. Here comes CIKG. Driving up on the outside, a challenge. Come On Big Girl for the lead. Followed by Myoka, who is in the third. After that, it's Nuke Skylark fourth. Elegant fifth. Marcia Sharp Girl moving up on the outside. Berkshire Tip. Starlight Melody is next, followed by Kankakee and Pay Direct. They're at the half-mile pole. Up top, it's CIKG, who leads the way in a good 58 4. They're out of the turn and down the backstretch. CIKG leads the way by a length. Here's Nuke Skylark moving up on the outside, a closer second. Marcia Sharp Girl moves in to be third. Down the backstretch, Come On Big Girl. Little less than 3/8 of a mile to pace. CIKG a length and a half. Come On Big Girl second ahead. Nuke Skylark is up on the outside third. Followed by Myoka in fourth. Elegant fifth on the outside. Marcia Sharp Girl dropping back in 128 3. Moving around the far turn, CIKG by a length. Nuke Skylark is up on the outside second toward the rail. Come On Big Girl third as the field straightens away. CIKG, Nuke Skylark closing down the middle of the racetrack. CIKG, Nuke Skylark is still coming. It's CIKG, Nuke Skylark, CIKG in front. In the winner's circle is one CIKG, 4-year-old bay mare by King Gypsy out of Cloudy, Indian, owned in Waynesville by Kathleen Prickett, trained by Steve Moore, well judged drive by Jody Essig, the mile 158 1, lifetime best. And in the winner's circle tonight, our friends from Weiler Welding and Lincoln Electric here on their annual Night 2 Scioto Downs. Here comes the field for tonight's fourth race as they parade to the post. Start of the early pick three. Number one, Carry the Wind, owned and driven by John Payne. Number two, Fox Avenue Judy, owned by Derek Kruger with Dave Brumbaugh. 3, Graceful Action, owned by Pope Lane Farm with David Miller. 4, American Dance, owned by Robert Cole. Joe Adamski will be aboard. 5 is Poetry in Motion, make that Poetry in Action, owned by Alan Levitt with Greg Powell. 6, Striking Beauty, owned by Margaret Brandt Hoover with Bill Irvine. 7, Quick Queen, owned by Larry Binkley and Michelle Whitlock. Larry Binkley will be in the sulky. That is the field for tonight's fourth race. 5 minutes till post. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and trotting. Quick Queen on the far outside, right to the front. Striking Beauty moving up on the outside. The 7, Quick Queen is off stride. Striking Beauty takes over the lead. Also off stride, the 5, Poetry in Action. They're down the backstretch. Striking Beauty, away to a good start, leads the way from Graceful Action. As they trot to the quarter-mile pole, American Dance away, snug third. After that, Carry the Wind in fourth. Big gap now of 5, Fox Valley Judy. Still off stride on the outside, Poetry in Action and Quick Queen. As they race by the opening quarter in 30 seconds flat. Past the stands to the half-mile pole. Up top, it's Striking Beauty. Graceful Action draws alongside. Graceful Action goes on. Striking Beauty is going to let her go. Gap of 4 to American Dance. After that, Carry the Wind, Fox Avenue Judy, Quick Queen trying to rally back into it. And Poetry in Action is the distant trailer. They're at the half-mile pole. Graceful Action is there in a pretty snappy 101-3. They're out of the turn and down the backstretch with a rush on the outside. Carry the Wind is up to challenge. Carry the Wind on the outside now sticks her nose, her head, her neck in front. Graceful Action can't go on. Here's Striking Beauty, Fox Avenue Judy, followed up on the outside by American Dance. Quick Queen was going to catch him, but went off stride again as they now move too deep into three-quarters. Carry the Wind by a head. Right alongside in second, Striking Beauty. The two went off stride. Fox Avenue Judy racing by three-quarters in 1:32-3. From the outside, Striking Beauty now gets the lead. Carry the Wind gives way. Second, American Dance is up on the outside of Graceful Action. Little more than a 16th of a mile to trot. Striking Beauty opens up a commanding lead. It is Striking Beauty, Carry the Wind to clear second. American Dance will waltz home third. Winner of tonight's fourth race, number 6, Striking Beauty, a 2-year-old bay filly by Striking Sabra out of Heather Road. Owned in Kirtland, Ohio by Margaret Brandhuber, trained by Bob Lippiot. Given a well-judged drive tonight by Bill Irvine to cover the mile in 2:02-4. Take a lifetime best and remain undefeated. Number 6, Striking Beauty, the unofficial winner. And representing Scioto Downs in the winner's circle tonight for the cooler presentation, doing his impersonation of Bob Crosby, general manager of V Gladio, is Mr. Craig Walters, director of concessions as well as group sales. Craig Walters, a.k.a. Bob Crosby, in the winner's circle for the Kula presentation. Canvasback Rival, owned by Chuck Grubbs, driven by Brad Hanners. Number 2 is Max Pet, owned by Rebecca Barker with Jody Essig. 3, the return of Sudsy Oats for Newt Thomas and Dave Hawk. 4, Rick and Dick, owned by Rhonda Stidham and Linda May. Rocky Stidham will be aboard. 5 is Dad's Debt, owned by Brent Davis with Ty Van Roden. 6, the Club on the Handle, owned by Bill Crothers and Cy Sperling with Randy Tharps. Number 7, Land the Salt, has been scratched. 6 and 8, Around Town, owned by Russell Dalton. David Miller will be in the sulky. 6 minutes till post time. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off, fan pacing. Rick and Dick takes the lead. There goes the Club on the Handle with a rush on the far outside, and Dad's Dead is driving up on the outside third. Canvasback Rival moves in to be fourth. Sudsy Oats in fifth. Around Town is up on the outside, and Max Pet is the trailer. Seating arrangements are complete to the quarter-mile pole, and the Club on the Handle leads the way. Rick and Dick in second, followed by Dad's Debt third. A closer fourth, the favorite Canvasback Rival. Sudsy Oats, Around Town, and Max Pet is gapping a solid opening quarter of 28 1/5, racing past the stands. First to flush and coming with a rush. Here's Canvasback Rival up on the outside, challenging Randy Tharps and the Club on the Handle for the lead. Toward the rail, Rick and Dick will stay the pocket. Out and moving, Dad's Debt, saving ground, Sudsy Oats. Around Town yet to get going, and at the end it's Max Pet. They're at the half-mile pole. Being sent and sent hard tonight. The Club on the Handle in a sharp 57-3 up the backstretch. The Club on the Handle by 2. Fighting back in there second, Rick and Dick. Canvasback with a lot of work to do from third. Nowhere to go, Sudsy Oats in fourth. Here's Dad's Dead up on the outside, around town, and Max Pat rolling to three quarters. The club on the handle trying to make every pull the winning one. Canvas back rival still game on the rim second. Along the rail, Rick and Dick. Sudsy Oats getting a pretty good journey in his return. After that, around town, Dad's Debt pulled and went backwards, and nothing yet from Max Pat. 126 and 4. Top of the stretch. They're in the stretch. The Suds on the handle continues to lead the way. Moving up on the far outside, canvas back rival Rick and Dick looking for racing room. Sudsy Oats is cocked, locked, and ready to rock. Deep stretch. Rick and Dick, the club on the handle. Rick and Dick now gets the lead. Here comes the unofficial winner of the fifth, number 4, Rick and Dick, a 7-year-old bay gelding by listing out of Topsy Hill. Owned in Circleville in Stoutsville by Rhonda Stidham and Linda May. Ran and trained by Rocky Stidham. Covering him out in a lifetime best 157 and 2 for Rick and Dick, the winner of the fifth. Four, 6 exact, the 53. Here comes the field for tonight's sixth race. Ohio Sire Stakes action. Opening leg here for 2-year-old trotting fillies. Third and final division tonight. Number 1 is Scoring Delight, owned by Robert Miller. Dean and Denny Miller, driven by David Miller. 2, Unky's Baby Doll, owned by the Wing Guys and the Rib Guys of Loveland and Cincinnati, Ohio. TT and T.E. Gregory with Jody Essick. Number 3, New Blue Shoes, owned by Donna Jean Anderson. Rangeman is Brian Weaver. 4, Diplomatic Pouch, owned by Larry Clellan. Keith Haynes will be aboard. Number 5, Dots and Dashes, owned by Deidre Houghton, Jerry Shapiro, Robert Simmons and Earl Shaw, Jeff Fout. Scratch number 6, Trot and Stride. 7, Miss Gigi D, owned and driven by Pius Sunland. Scratch number 6, Trot and Stride. Post time in less than 6 minutes. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and trotting. The 5 is off stride. Dots and Dashes. 5 is on a break, and Diplomatic Pouch takes the lead. Followed by Unky's Baby Doll in the second. New Blue Shoes third. Miss GGD circling wide up on the outside. Scoring Delight is now fifth along the rail, and back down trotting Dots and Dashes. As they move to the quarter-mile pole, out on top, it's Diplomatic Pouch for Keith Haynes by 2.5. Unky's Baby Doll a closer second, gap of 3 to My New Blue Shoes. After that, the rail filly, the favorite, Scoring Delight. They open up here in a soft 31 1/5. Trotting past the stands, Diplomatic Pouch will try to make it 2 in a row. Diplomatic Pouch from Unky's Baby Doll. New Blue Shoes is in the third, Scoring Delight fourth. Here's Dots and Dashes with a rush on the outside as she tries to overcome that early misstep, and at the end it's Miss Gigi D. Around the paddock turn to the half-mile pole. Diplomatic Pouch is rolling right along. A little bit closer in second, Unky's Baby Doll. Here's New Blue Shoes to the outside. Ranging up on the far outside, Dots and Dashes, the favorite, Scoring Delight, and Miss Gigi D. And 103, they're down the back stretch. Diplomatic Pouch is now on top by 2. The 2 is off stride. Unky's Baby Doll, the 1 goes on by her as they trot into 3/4. Diplomatic Pouch will try to last. New Blue Shoes is up on the outside. Dots and Dashes third. Take a long look at Scoring Delight. She's gobbling up ground on the far outside in 133 and 1. Scoring Delight on the far outside, ready to try to chase down Diplomatic Pouch. In between horses, New Blue Shoes, as the field straightens away. Scoring Delight blast into command. It's Scoring Delight. Diplomatic Pouch is second. New Blue Shoes is going to hold on third. Here's the Rio McCoy S. It's Scoring Delight. Finishing second, Diplomatic Pouch, and 3, New Blue Shoes. Here comes the unofficial winner of tonight's sixth race and a very impressive performance. Number 1, Scoring Delight. 2-year-old Bay filly by final score out of Dale's Delight, owned by Robert Miller of Luverne, Kentucky, Dean and Denny Miller of Archibald, Ohio. Trained by Steve Brennan, given a confident drive tonight by David Miller to cover the mile here in 2:03. Number 1, Scoring Delight, the winner. Representing the OHHA and GQLMF is the former Scioto Downs grandstand manager, Mr. 1-800 Dale Roof. Mr. Dale 1-800 Hit the Roof, GQLMF. Windows are now up and on tonight's 7th race. No changes in the 7th race. Post time upcoming here momentarily. New Blue Shoes third, Diplomatic Pouch second. Dotson Dash is fourth. Trot and Stride was scratched. Here's a field for race 7. Number 1, Look Tony, owned by Dale D. Roof with Jerry Kutchback Jr. 2, Roughhausen, owned by Enlo Atkinson, and the driver is David Miller. 3, Look Jim Bob, owned by Jackie Teeger with Jody Essig. 4, Chip Champ, owned by Ken Briggs. Randy Tharps will be aboard. 5, Mattart's Log, owned by Gary Bobo in the Star Country stable with Art Jones. 6 is Smokey Butler, owned by Jeff and Ethel Dennis with Jeff Fout. 7, Brigadier P, owned by Nanny Hellman, driven by Brad Hanners. 8 is Big Sky Country, owned by David Cooper with Bob Harper. 9, Manart Quick Start, leased by Ray Kenny with David Hawk. 10, Golden Delivery, owned by Jeff Gibson. Greg Luther will be in the sulky. 5 minutes till post time. Starting gate is underway. Is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and pacing. Chip Champ between horses takes the lead. Mattart's Log is in between horses. Here's Smokey Butler. Manart Quick Start is on the extreme outside, and Big Sky Country. Brigadier P gets away in 5th, followed by Look Tony. After that, Golden Delivery, Roughhausen. And at the end, Look Jim Bob as they move 4 horses across the track to the quarter-mile pole. Smokey Butler, Chip Champ driving up on the outside. Manart Quick Start, and they're rolling now. 27-2, moving to the half-mile pole. Manart Quick Start, living up to his name, has been gunned to the front. Manart Quick Start on top. Here's Big Sky Country. On the move to second, tucked in there third. Smokey Butler, Chip Champ is fourth. With a rush on the outside, Brigadier P to 5th. Saving ground, Mattart's Log in 6th. Underway from the back of the pack, Golden Delivery. Followed by the rail guy, Look Tony. After that, Roughhausen and Look Jim Bob, and they're at the half. 56-3 up the backstretch. Manart Quick Start bouncing right along. Manart Quick Start by a length. Followed by Smokey Butler in second. Out from between horses, Big Sky Country. On the far outside, Brigadier P. Randy Tharps has come off the rail. He's moving 4, 5 horses wide as he's trying to get Chip Champ into a forward slot. Racing into 3/4 in 126-3. This one is absolutely wide open. Manart Quick Start. Brigadier P is up on the outside. Golden Delivery on the far outside is 4 lengths. Separates this field of 10. Off the turn, in the stretch, they're on their way home. It's Manart Quick Start, Smokey Butler still attacking. Big Sky Country closing quickly on the rails. Smokey Butler. It's Smokey Butler. Here's Look Tony getting up second. Tonight's seventh race, number 6, Smoky Butler, a 5-year-old brown gelding by Star Butler out of Tinkerbell Lobel. Owned by Jeff and Ethel Dennis of Wilmington, trained by Jeff Dennis. Given a well-judged drive tonight by Jeff Felt to cover the mile here in 1:58 and 2. 6, Smoky Butler, the winner of the seventh race. Here comes the field for tonight's eighth race as Kathy Hawk brings them out. Number 1, Blaze of Victory, has been scratched. 2, Shenango Obi-Wan Kenobi, owned by the K&W Racing Stable, driven by Ryan Holton. 2, Jergy Jet, owned by Donald Hay, reinsman Bob Harper. 4, White Wall Crown, owned by Warren Howland, Randy Tharps will be aboard. 5 is Crown Time Patriot, owned by Towering Oaks Farm, Dave Hawk will be in the bike. 6, Copy the Message, owned by Ernest Evans with David Myers. 710 Talon Zodiac, owned by FLG Partnership and Brad Hanners. 8, Paliapedo Tom, owned by Bonnie Kleinman, Mike Center, and Roy Sweeney with David Miller. 9, What a Message, owned by Glenn Brandon with Jody Yessig. 10, Play Lady Play, owned by Severino Taormina with Dallas Miller in the sulky. 5 minutes till post time. Field turn, starting gate is underway. Motion. And there they go. They're off and trotting. Way to a good start. Crown Time Patriot takes the lead. Followed by Shenango Obi along the rail. Late leader on the far outside. Paliapedo Tom there down the backstretch. Jergy Jet, Play Lady Play from out of the second tier. White Wall Crown, Copy the Message. Talon Zodiac's going to try to settle in there 8th, and What a Message is 9th. As they trot to the opening quarter with a rush on the outside, Paliapedo Tom gets the lead. Crown Time Patriot let him go without too much of a fight. Second, 29 and 1. Trotters in parade as they move to the 3/8 pole. It's Paliapedo Tom, Crown Time Patriot second. After that, the big guy on the hood, Shenango Obi, followed up on the outside by Jergy Jet. Talon Zodiac, What a Message on the outside around the lower turn of the half-mile pole. Play Lady Play. After that comes White Wall Crown, ranging up on the outside. Copy the Message. They're hub to hub at the half-mile pole in a soft minute and 2/5. They're out of the turn and down the backstretch. The purple and white is continuing to show his heels to the field with Paliapedo Tom. Jergy Jet starts the action from mid-pack. Crown Time Patriot saving ground along the rail. Talon Zodiac, and he's taken What a Message with him. Fighting back, Shenango Obi-Wan Kenobi, the mare. Play Lady Play far outside. Copy the Message in long shot. White Wall Crown racing by 3/4 double-deckered in 1:30 and 2. All out war here midway on the turn. Talon Zodiac and What a Message both move to the middle of the racetrack. Little more than an 1/8 of a mile to trot. Paliapedo Tom on the far outside. Talon Zodiac. Jergy Jet, Crown Time Patriot. What a Message! Flies up on the far outside. Good night, boys. What a Message now gets the lead and draws clear. Very tight for second. Eighth race, number 9, What a Message. 5-year-old bay gelding by Carry the Message out of Whirling Success, owned in Miamisburg by Glenn Brandon, trained by Joe Essig. Driven tonight by Jody Essig from last to first to cover the mile here in 1:59 and 4. Number 9, What a Message, the unofficial winner. That's victory 6 in 10 starts this year, and nobody hits harder from the back of the pack than this guy. 9, What a Message, the unofficial winner. Number 1, Winterwood Large Car, owned by Gary Squires, Donald Paget, and John Strang with Dave Hawk. Number 2 is Arcase Prime Time, owned by Karen and Richard Graham, driven by Brad Hanners. 3, Snakefoot, owned and driven by Mark Evers. 4, Tank Sabra, owned by Ellen and Mike Havens. Del S. Miller will be aboard. 5, Downwind Penske has been scratched. 6, Rudy's Ball, owned by Walter Shepner with David Miller. 7 is Caleb Special, owned by Pearl Paver with Johnny Collins. Number 8 is Samurais, owned by Ron Bates. Randy Tharps will drive. 9, Special's Last Boy, owned by the Our Little Stable with Jeff Felt. Number 10, Gambler's Lair, owned by the Hatfield Stables. Bud Hatfield will be in the sulky. Scratch number 5, Downwind. And there they go. They're off and pacing. Winterwood Large Car takes the lead. Quickly on the far outside, Samurai's on the move from second, Arcase Prime Time third. Tank Sabra driving up on the outside. Gambler's Lair out of the second tier to fifth. Followed by Snakefoot in sixth, the favorite Rudy's Ball. 7, Caleb Special is eighth. Special's Last Ball is ninth. As they move into the opening quarter-mile pole, Winterwood Large Car has got the rail and the lead as they open up here in a solid 27 3/5. Moving past the stands, Winterwood Large Car has command by a length and a half. Samurais is now stalking from second. Past the stands, Arcase Prime Time third, Gambler's Lair fourth, Snakefoot is fifth. Toward the rail, Tank Sabra with a rush on the outside. Here comes Rudy's Ball. Caleb Special, and at the end, Special's Last Boy. They're at the half-mile pole. Winterwood Large Car will try to pull the mild upset in here. They're at the half in 58. They're out of the turn and down the backstretch. Winterwood Large Car continues to lead the way. Snakefoot is on the attack, and he'll take the 2-year-old Rudy's Ball with him as they leave the 5/8 head to 3/4. Winterwood Large Car continues to lead the way. Here's Snakefoot up on the outside, coming quick along the rail. Samurais as the one bears out a little bit. Here comes Rudy's Ball with a 3-wide power sweep by 3/4 at 127 4 around the far turn. Winterwood Large Car, Rudy's Ball hustles up on the outside. Caleb Special now follows the favorite. Little more than an eighth of a mile to drive. Rudy's Ball driving wide and hard. Winterwood Large Car's fighting back. Gameway, the one, has regained the lead. Here comes Samurais with a rush along the rail. Here's Trader Bud and Gambler's Lair. 2 wide here, the one. Winterwood Large Car wins it. The unofficial winner of race number 9, number 1, Winterwood Large Car. A 3-year-old bay sedan by Tinslater out of Star Rising, owned by Gary Squires, Donald Paget, and Don Strang of Ohio, trained by Harry Fisher, driven wire-to-wire by David Hawk to cover the mile here in 1:57 2. 1, Winterwood Large Car, the winner. Here comes the field for tonight's 10th race. Number 1, Alente Spur, owned by Alex Spence Jr., driven by Brett Miller. 2, FF Lass, owned by Charles Isaacs. David Isaacs with Jeff Fout. Number 3, Wind River Warrior, owned by Scott Washburn, Brian Brown, and William Rowe with Brad Hanners. Number 4, Paxton Road, owned by Robert Chafin and Wade Chafin Jr. with Sandy Beatty. Number 5, Dazzle My Heart, owned by Jeffrey and Kevin Reed and Michael Parrish. David Miller will be in the bike. 6, God Allen Michael, owned by Johnson Hill Jr., and the driver is Randy Tharps. 7 is Beer and Bones, leased by William Fawcett, Jody Essig. 8, Briggs Z, owned by Ken Briggs and Mark Collier with John Collins. 9, Big Stormy, owned by Leo Banks and Lester Holland. Bob Harper will be in the sulky. Field for the 10th race, post time in less than 5 minutes. And there they go. They're off and pacing. Wind River Warrior takes the lead. FF last between horses. There goes Scott Allen Michael with a rush on the far outside. Followed by Alante Spur, Dazzle My Heart, the late lever. Beer and Bones caught 3 deep. Paxton Road is next. Nearest the rail, Briggsy and Big Stormy as they drive to the quarter-mile pole. Wind River Warrior has the lead. Nice 2-hole duck and tuck for Scott Allen Michael. Quick one, 27-1. Racing past the stands to the half-mile pole. Wind River Warrior leads the way. Scott Allen Michael on his heels in second. FF last, racing third. Followed by Alante Spur in fourth. Dazzle My Heart is next. Long Mile for Beer and Bones. Paxton Road, Briggsy, and Big Stormy. No change around the paddock turn to the half-mile pole. Wind River Warrior continues to lead the way. Stalking Journey, Scott Allen Michael. FF last comes to the outside with a rush at a quick 57-4. They're out of the turn and down the backstretch. Wind River Warrior on top by a head. Here's FF last driving up on the outside. Scott Allen Michael now ready to set sail from third. Alante Spur is next. Here comes Dazzle My Heart between horses. Wyden driving on the far outside. Paxton Road as they drive to 3/4. From the outside, it's FF last. Wind River Warrior fighting back in a quick 126. Moving around the far turn, Wind River Warrior by a nose. Driving up on the far outside, FF last. Scott Allen Michael not doing his best right now. Here comes Alante Spur on the far outside. Middle of the racetrack, Dazzle My Heart racing through the stretch. Alante Spur, Dazzle My Heart. One final bid. The 5-claimer upsets the big boys. Alante Spur in front. Here comes the winner, Alante Spur, an 8-year-old bay son of Albatross out of Sanby, Hanover. Owned and trained in Grove City by Alex Spence Jr. Winning driver Brett Miller. A mile 155-1 and a lifetime best. Here comes the field for tonight's 11th and final race. Superfecta and Exacta wagering. Scratch number 1, KG's Gravitate. 2 is Toss the Coin, owned by Richard Lee Mabra, and the driver is Tony Rose. Number 3, Lake Hills Mike, owned by Gene Humphrey and Jerry Webb with Terry Groves. 4, Avila Rebo, owned and driven by Melby Ober Jr. 5 is Icy Torch, owned by William Torch and Jeff Fout. 6, Good Allegris, owned by Stephen Watkins with Bob Harper. 7 is HS, owned by J. Tom Gray and David Miller. Number 8, Clear Air, owned by William and Mildred Lane with a driver change to John Collins. Number 9, High Elvis, owned by Larry Fulham with Jody Essig. Number 10, Killer Hawk, owned by Carol Lehman. Dallas Miller will be in the sulky. Scratch the 1, KG's Gravitate. John Collins to drive number 8, Clear Air. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and pacing. Icy Torch and Good Allegris are out for the lead. Followed by Lake Hills Mike. Along the rail, they're down the backstretch and toss the coin and now along the rail. Here comes Avila Rebo out of the second tier. Killer Hawk HS. After that comes Clear Air and High Elvis as they drive to the quarter-mile pole. And the 3, Lake Hills Mike, is jumped off stride. Good Allegris has the top tonight for Bobby Harper. He leads by an easy length and a half. Followed by Icy Torch in second, opening quarter of 29 seconds flat. Racing past the stands to the half-mile pole. Good Allegris continues to lead the way. Here comes HS from the back of the pack and Icy Torch along the rail. Toss the Coin now starts the action from mid-pack. followed by Avlaribo. Killer Hawk is next as they make their way to the half-mile pole. Clear Air starting up on the outside. High Elvis, and at the end, the early trailer after the break is Lake Hills Mike. And they're at the half in a minute flat. They're out of the turn and down the backstretch. Good Allegris continues to lead the way. Toss the Coin is up on the outside second, followed by Icy Torch along the rail third. HS Live cover to fourth, now coming three deep off cover. As they move into three quarters, Avlaribo, followed by Killer Hawk. Clear Air is in the center. Up on the outside, High Elvis and Lake Hills Mike. As Good Allegris guns them by three quarters in 1:29. Around the far turn, Good Allegris continues to lead the way. HS is up on the outside second, followed by Icy Torch along the rail third. As the field straightens away, Bobby Harper brings them on home. Good Allegris has the lead. HS is up on the outside. Icy Torch closing on the rail. Icy Torch, Good Allegris, and HS. Deep stretch. Icy Torch, Good Allegris fighting back too little too late in HS. Five, Icy Torch, a 6-year-old bay gelding by Andy Zor out of Brett's Master Blend. Owned in New Carlisle, Ohio by William Torch, trained by Carla Asher, driven tonight by Jeff Fout. They cover the mile here in 1:59 and 1. Take a lifetime best. 5, Icy Torch, the winner. 6, Good Allegris was second. 7, HS was third. Final pick 3 on 2 out of 3. We'll have that payoff here in just a second. The exacta $89.80 and the super $1,051.20.